Gold and silver is money and nothing else.
Unfortunately, that, folks, is not even close to the truth. Silver and gold are money, but that only depends on the market. Now, this video is not a personal attack. It's only my opinion on a much larger scam of silver and gold altogether. Commodities fraud. I'm not targeting anyone. I'm only using an example to inform the average viewer, so please don't take offense to this video, anyone. Silver and gold, it's beautiful, isn't it? Unfortunately, that's about all it's worth. This sheds light on a little hustle, a growing cheap swindle that I've been watching. It's been bugging me for quite some time. I've been watching the commodities market a while myself, and yes, I was involved with some small trading. Unfortunately, I became aware of a lot of information, no different than the many, let's say, real estate scams, stock market scams, banking and investment scams that have plagued the financial sector. On every level, the whole thing is a scam, and I pretty much can't say it any simpler than that. Gold and silver salesmen are manipulating the ignorant masses into purchasing soon-to-be worthless metals. I know what I'm saying sounds a little bit bold, but it's true. You might ask, in our current economic state, a looming global financial disaster, and the legislation being enacted to halt bartering, is this the case? I say this is precisely the case, if you take a look at the market. I know that some of these currency traders have no idea that silver and gold will be worthless after the financial crisis. Unfortunately, many of these hustlers do. They know they are scamming you, and they are just into it to make a quick buck. The minority of them are at the top of the food chain: Federal Reserve, Rothschilds, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and several other prominent families. I've seen more, of course, of the ignorant type than the latter on YouTube, so that's why I decided to make this video. I present two devastating facts about silver and gold, which makes purchasing it worthless. The prices are being intentionally driven up, and money is being made by selling it, primarily because it has little to no value. And I'll explain why. E-currency first. That's the standard replacing silver and gold. Digits will replace all physical forms of currency. Silver and gold that is being commercially traded, bought, and sold around the world is simply for short-term gain. And most of it's not even silver and gold. Again, most of it's not even silver or gold. Now, these are damning for anyone who believes that they're going to be able to barter silver and gold after the financial crisis. With the amount of fraud that will be exposed in the silver and gold market, e-currency will emerge as a solution to replace it. We may see a brief period where we go into silver and gold, but this is ultimately going to cause the financial disaster. The banks have the opportunity and the right to seize gold and silver from the citizens in order to recalculate the costs after a financial collapse. That's also an alternative. But alternatively, the e-commerce or the e-currency is a totally controlled and digital method, because all of the fallout and hysteria following the masses who use silver and gold, legislation will be ratified to make it totally illegal to barter. Now, this legislation is already being put in place today. This all has to do with the second part of the scam, which I've been alluding to. Most of the silver and gold on the market is worthless because it's tungsten, not gold, and molly bars, not silver. That's totally true. It's a total scam. Tungsten and molly bars, as they're called, are on the market by the millions of ounces. If you still believe that silver and gold will be the standard after the financial collapse of the U.S., then we can take another approach. Let's examine it in a rational way. If we look at silver and gold, there are two major uses for silver and gold. The one is jewelry, and the second is financial backing and currency. If we look at the uses, we have to examine the true values in terms of how are we going to use them day to day. How valuable are they? This question is going to be important during the most devastating collapse the U.S. has ever seen, as most of you should know by now. After total financial collapse of the U.S., it will spawn a total global economic collapse. Then the true value of any object will be based on its ability to fulfill our most basic needs. We should instinctively realize that silver and gold are not necessities. Furthermore, jewelry or financial backing, which was based on the past economic system, the failed one, will be pointless after the collapse. Food, water, shelter, energy, medicine, and protection are far more valuable than jewelry or coins. Again, silver and gold are not necessities. They are only valuable or valued as currency within any economic system, but the past faltering economic system. The value of silver and gold is an illusion, and the only valuable uses of silver and gold at this point in time is on the industrial level. Unfortunately, after the financial collapse, the businesses won't be producing high-end items or anything for that matter. Production will come to a screeching halt. No one is going to trade food, water, or weapons for something that can't be used to sustain themselves. This is pretty much common sense, folks. A pretty rational argument here, even outside of the e-commerce and the fake metal scam, is reason to at least doubt that silver and gold will be the new standard after a disaster the size that's looming over the U.S. Let's get back to my major points, which is the e-currency and the fake metal scam. The idea of silver and gold as a currency is antiquated, very old. If we take a look at a currency, we see how it's gradually changed through time, from coins to paper to credit cards, and now it's going to be fully digital. Even if we did go back to the silver and gold standard, it wouldn't be permanent because of the corruption in the commodities market. Using silver and gold will ultimately cause the world's financial crisis. Ironically, representatives are adopting legislation that will legalize the use of silver and gold coins. This is precisely the move that not only ensures the looming collapse of the commodities market, but also supports the legislation that's being drafted to protect the e-currency market by criminalizing bartering. This is pretty sophisticated, but basically, if we do get back to the gold standard, as some of the legislation is indicating, and some of the banks and financial institutions who are also gotten into buying this gold, all it's going to do is collapse the system. In this new digital and global age of commerce, the gold standard is not a must. There are already digital currencies in existence, such as bitcoins. Now, don't be confused, they're not coins at all, but they're binary units of information, or bits for short. E-currency is even worse than silver and gold. It has no true value at all. It's simply information about work. That's basically as if your energy produces value, just like something out of the movie Matrix. You will be physically or psychologically bound to a system of electronic work/pay increments. None of this information has actual value in the real world. It's purely digital information. These digits can be used to buy, sell, or trade around the world. This is the new global currency. It has no physical presence. And this is not just some half-baked theory on the irrelevance of silver and gold. The Fed has already taken steps to eliminate bartering altogether. In this article by the Examiner, a federal jury conviction of the owner of the Liberty Dollar for attempting to usurp federal law and create a legal standard currency in our monetary system was the correct ruling for this federal case. However, the desire by many Americans to have gold and silver back as our standard form of monetary still continues today, despite the final results of this lawsuit. The federal jury who decided that it's illegal to produce a currency based on silver and gold basically stated that because other forms of currency are circulating and present, doesn't mean that this will always be the case. And this is just realism, folks. When the financial crisis hits, they will forcibly enact total control over all financial transactions. This is both to control the damage and to introduce a new world e-currency. The Chinese Premier Hu Jintao recently said that the era of the U.S. dollar-dominated currency system is coming to an end, and that this will force a change into the international currency system. The recent structural weakness of the U.S. dollar and the euro shows that we are moving in this direction, and that we are probably in the late stage of development of today's world currency system. People think that they will be able to barter freely after the economic collapse. According to this case, the Chinese Premier's sentiments and the constant tightening of control by the federal government, There will be a world currency that has nothing to do with gold or silver standard at all, and bartering silver and gold will be considered a federal crime. On to my second point, and quite pitifully, a lot of the silver and gold being peddled is not even silver or gold at all. It's tungsten, which is something used to fill gold-plated bars, and also what I call molly bars. And there are literally millions of grams dumped on the international markets. This Fort Knox column says it all. It isn't enough for you to realize that silver and gold is another type of fraud, but with a wide body of evidence, you have to realize what's going on here. One has to ask also why the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, everyone known to be global leaders in the financial world are not buying up commodities. In fact, the Rothschilds did the opposite. They got out of the commodities in 2004. So one has to ask, why would some of the richest people in the world abandon a market if it was so profitable? You have to think about that. These are the financiers who are selling tungsten and fake silver to the masses as a real thing. It's a seller's market, and that's true. They know that gold and silver will have little value after the economic collapse, and the whole thing is another scam. The average silver or gold trader is doing nothing different than the average stockbroker, real estate agent, investment banker, what they did before the markets crashed on them due to fraud. And this is exactly the same scenario orchestrated by exactly the same people. It's still, if you still don't get it, really, I don't know what to tell you, but whether it's tungsten instead of gold, molly bars instead of silver, e-currency, the criminalization of bartering, and the overall impracticality of silver and gold, there is no intelligent reason to buy silver and gold given the current trends and situations. However, those selling it will make short-term gains. I'm not here to keep any food out of anyone's mouth, for example, but let's be honest, folks. If people dump their hard earnings and savings into silver and gold and realize that it's going to be abandoned, they're not going to be happy. So I just say take care and reason.